So this is Studio, and you can download it, install it. I did some tweaks, but not too many. But most of them are the default are good settings. As with Studio, I'm sorry, SciTe, there's an output pane, which this is really just used for debugging. So you can almost get rid of that entirely. What's cool is he has a let's see, the top here is the Code Explorer. Is that what it's called? I put up my notes. Oh, Project Explorer, sorry. So this is the Project Explorer, and then this is the Code Explorer. And so this is where you'll see your functions, and here are the files that are open, and also, like, here are all the different, it pulls in the libraries, right, that I have in my folder that are available to me.
So that's your local libraries, not what's used in Studio.
Right, these are mine, and I can click on any one, and it'll pop it open. Right, which is nice.
Excellent.
So let me close that, and all right, let me get. Oh, so that actually, let me get rid of. I'll close that, and so here under previous scripts, I wanted to. It opened in the other window. I thought it should have. I don't know. Let me open this file, which is just blank, because that's what I wanted to start off with, a blank file. All right. So one, and similar to SciTe, right, I can start typing, and if I hit Control D, it'll duplicate it, right, and Control Q. Actually, I think I had to change that. I can't quite remember, but you can instantly comment out, what you have highlighted. Which I love. I do two of those all the time. The one that now this, and here actually, so see how that's highlighting.
Yeah, right.
The other one
underlined. Yeah.
And so that comes in very handy.
That's by default in this.
Now it is, yes. He actually, I showed him that, and he's like, oh, in SciTe. And he's like, oh, I like that. I'll incorporate that in. And he made his, which is nice. It's case insensitive, right? And in SciTe, you can control whether you want it case sensitive or not. And see, at the time, the reason why I first enabled that was I was programming in Python. And Python is case sensitive. And I wasted, I can't tell you how many hours. Because the case was wrong. And it just drove me batty, and so I enabled that, but I made mine case sensitive. But now that, I've switched back to almost everything I do scripting-wise is in AutoHotkey, which of course is not case sensitive, so why not leave it as that? I'm going to put it, this is just my beginning, like how I start off with the script. Now, let's say I'm making a variable, right? And I can say var. Now watch, I'm going to hit one quote. See how it put in the other one for me?
Yeah, that's
which is really cool. It takes getting used to, because I'm so used to writing the two myself that I end up messing myself up. But once you get used to it, then it's amazing. The other one is, let's say if you were doing a function or calling a function, and you can say it does the parens, right? And then we put in the quote again, or let's say you had a word here and you wanted it in quotes. I can highlight it and hit one quote, and it wraps it for me.
Yeah.
Right. So it's little things like that once you get used to, you're like, holy cow, right?
Yeah.
The other one is, let's say I'm going to do a message box, 3,000 lines later, and I can't remember what I called this variable. What I love is when I start typing, I'm going to say message box.
Oh.
See how it's listed there?
Yeah.
Right? It automatically,
yeah.
So let me do that so it's a little easier to see. Actually, I can even start typing it. See how it's available?
Yeah. You just hit tab. You're tapping through it. Yeah.
In little stuff like that, you're like, holy moly, right? That is awesome. Now let's do another one. Oh, and actually, like, let's say if now when I hit return here, see how it indented for me?
Yeah, right.
So it does auto indenting. And what's really cool is if I do like this, and I don't, let me see here. I know there's a hotkey for it, but I'm gonna hold down Alt and hit M, and this is this Omni search, and it allows me to do like a fuzzy match. You see this fix indent?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think if I had these as actual commands, it would have fixed both. But you can have a whole bunch of code, and it'll actually go through your entire script and fix all the indenting for you, which is
yeah. So the Omni search, what is the key for that?
You hold down Alt and hit M.
Okay.
And also in that, let me quickly. So see this @ sign looks for, I think, like everything, but there is there are different oh, here we go. So you can pull up, bookmarks or hotkeys functions. Each of these things will filter the list you're searching from.
Yeah. Wow.
So once you memorize them, that's it's like there's a lot of different ones, but it's pretty powerful. Now let's say I want to create a function, right? And I'm going to say my func, and notice I'm going to call actually here it'll be name, and I'm going to put in a bracket, and then when I hit return, it actually puts it out of the way I want it.
Yeah.
And here I'm going to say message box name. Now up here, I'm going to call that function. And so see, it's even pulling it up for, I forgot to add this to my notes. This is one of the best freaking things in sliced bread. So let's say I had two parameters, right? Name and age, right? So here, when I start typing here, let me get rid of this and so see how it highlights I'm on name?
Yeah.
But when I switch over,
comma,
it knows I'm on a. So it feeds you and tells you, especially like in message boxes, how confusing it can be where you are.
How many commas?
Yeah, exactly. So see, this is comma. See, it's helping you. It's like, holy cow, that is what I need to add that back to my notes to remind, because and it works. This is the amazing part to me, not just on obviously like the built-in tools with AutoHotkey, but even your own functions that you write, right? And that to me was just like, wow, that is amazing. So let's say I'm going to call my function, and we'll pass John, and we'll make this a number. You're 12. All right, so I'm going to save this. I could run it, right? And it hopefully, so John and 12, it works. But now let's say I wanted to keep things nice and tidy, right? And I wanted this to be as an include instead of inside my script.
Okay.
So I can highlight it and hit this, Alt M, and I know there's a hotkey for it, but I'm going to say, what is this? Function. New include, create include from selection. So Control Shift N. Now when I hit this, it's going to ask me, what do I want to call it? I want to call it the name of the function, and I'm just going to hit OK. And there was a file there I meant to, and I don't know if it overwrote it. Let's see if this.
120.
It didn't overwrite it, and that's what I meant to do earlier was to delete the thing. And I might actually, because I did things out of order. Let me try this again. So I'm going to, what was it? Alt Shift N? Something like that? No. Well, I'll just have to Alt M.
Function.
Create
Control Shift.
Shift N. Okay, so here it says, what do you want to name it? Okay. Now notice it put an include for me.
Wow.
It over here created, it added under functions my function, right? And it added the include, right? Yeah. So it automatically, and I can click on it, and here it is, right? And I can go back to my own file. Let me go up here. So now it works exactly the way I want it to. Here, so that saved me time, right? But now when I want to actually like publish this in the forum,
Yes.
I can hit Alt-M, and I think it's called pack.
Pack to.
Well, let's just there. Oh, I'm sorry. That's for compiling. So you can do a compile and it'll pack it all up. But also, I think just as paste to clip bin. Let's do this one, and so it actually just pasted that, and so here's it pasted it to clip bin, right? So I'm gonna bring over this, and when it does that, see how it brought back in the function for me?
Oh,
It
yeah,
removed the include, put everything. So if you had 24, right, it does all of that for you. It automatically does it.
That overhead, wow.
Yeah, and it's like, holy cow. But that was for here. There's another one, so I did that. But there's also, I just don't remember it. Paste. I'm trying to remember what it is. It has something to do with no, I thought it was pack. I'll have to ask him. Yeah. But basically, it packs up everything for you, and the same thing we just did. It puts it like on the clipboard, right? Maybe that's what I should look for. I don't remember, but there is a way to do it. That's my bad.
Maybe save is the word save and save.
No, oh well, you know.
Swap. No.
Yeah, I don't remember. This is also, by the way, how if I want to turn off auto indent. See how this here? Some things are menus, but then also they say enabled or disabled.
Okay.
So you can come in here and start typing, and then enable and disable features that you like and don't like.
Okay.
So
you can edit that option right there.
That's right. I can just I can click on it, or I can keep typing and then arrow down to it and hit enter, and it will take effect.
I see. And otherwise, when it says menu, that means it's up in the menus.
So I think so, yes. It's an option in the menu. This is basically, and I think by having that @ sign, it's saying look for everything. But if I put in like, okay, so functions. So these are functions.
Okay.
Right? So you can see that little cheat sheet. Like I want to look for properties. What is that? A period? I can't quite see it. Yeah.
Well, you do have a function, so it should find that.
Well, I think that this is the functions, but let's go ahead and try that. These are, oh, no, you're right. Yeah. And let's see what happens when I choose it. Oh, it popped it open. Interesting. Because I know he has a lot of shortcuts for jumping around and stuff. And then that's where you were on the webinar the other day, right? Where I did the debugging.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you can do a debugging, and this is where. So I'm going to show the variables of value, but if I had an object, that's one where I'm like, holy cow, because I suck at understanding objects well, and the fact I can click on it and expand it. Now, SciTe does that too, but you got to click multiple things.
Wow. And this is all written in AutoHotkey. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. I am slowly getting used to switching to it. It's just I am so ingrained in so many things in SciTe that like I'll get frustrated because that's how my brain works. But man, some of the things, especially just that pulling up of a previous variable or the function and showing where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some slick stuff.
Yeah.
The other one, just so you know, like let's say I'm in let me let's say I was in SciTe, okay, or anything. Actually, I'll just do it from here. So I can highlight something here and hit copy, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to come back just because Studio is running, and I'm gonna hit Alt M and say paste clipboard. That, even though it's not in here, right? That actually created that paste bin thing.
Yeah.
That I was looking at that. So that will put whatever was in my clipboard, right? So regardless of even if you're doing AutoHotkey stuff or not, if you're trying to share something with someone,
yeah, you can just use it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a super easy. He also has one, I think, for doing the same way that, you know, you want to laugh. So, you know, my screen clipping one with this option, this thing, right? And it does an upload. It creates this and does this upload to Imager.
Yeah, I use that.
Well, all right. I was literally demonstrating this script to Maestrith, who is the AutoHotkey Studio author.
Yes.
And I literally opened up the code, and if you look in my screen clipping thing, he is the one that wrote the Imager, image function for converting stuff. And it was just so ironic. Like, here I'm showing him my script. Thankfully, I had actually, I didn't claim
take credit for it.
Yeah, but it was so funny. He's like, oh, that's mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he has one. I forget what it is. Let's see if I can remember. No, because there must be a way. I don't know how. He has one. He also has one for, and I don't know if it's built in Studio, but for uploading your animated GIFs, which are really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the big, to me, some of the big values that wow, it's darn slick.
Yeah. Well, the ability to, and you mentioned in the webinar that if you debug code with function calls, it'll actually step to the function code without being obscured.
Right. Yeah. The other one, if the let's say in here that I had a bad, oops. So that is not going to make any sense, right?
Yeah.
And actually, what's cool is if I hit run here, it actually knows, it looks and runs this one, not that one. It's smart enough to know that that's not what's supposed to run. So when I try to run this now, see how it popped open that file?
Yeah, right.
And it popped up with the, I hit a button, unfortunately. Let me go back to this. And let me try to run it again. And this time I won't hit the keyboard, and it should. So see, it popped this here, and it told me on line 3 inside this function.
Yeah.
And specifically exactly what, I'm like, wow. Because before, SciTe will tell you, I want to say hints is the best way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
It does say, it points to the file, but it's not nearly as obvious. And I'll be looking at that script and going, where is my problem? Where's my problem? And then finally I'm like, well, crap. It's not even this file. It's in one of my function calls.
Wow. Yeah, well, you've convinced me. I'm in a couple of editors and SciTe.
Yeah.
Well, I'll stick with SciTe, but now I'm thinking I might.
Well, yeah, and I think, when you're developing AutoHotkey stuff, right? Maybe that's when you really switch over to Studio, and then elsewise, for me at least, I still stick with SciTe.
Yeah.
But when maybe it's just when you're really developing more advanced stuff or troubleshooting or whatnot. But a lot of the stuff, once you get used to it, it's like, wow, it's awesome.
Well, it's cool that you haven't really gone into the menus and you click on these little action icons once in a while, but you basically are staying with the keyboard.
Yeah. He doesn't even I had to make this toolbar, so he doesn't even have a toolbar for it. I just can't. If my hand's on the mouse, I want to use a mouse.
Yeah.
Right. And if not, then fine, I'll use a keyboard. But he has so many hotkeys. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me, because I made a button for it. Export list. So here's display hotkeys, right? So here are hotkeys he has built into it. And then, if I remember right, we built this, which I forget where, but it just exported this, it's on the clipboard. So now I can paste that, right? And it has, the list of them.
I see. You can search it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, or I could print it out and have it, if I really wanted to get into it and say, you know what, I'm going to start using it, I can print it and have it somewhere. Get rid of the obvious ones, right? Yeah, I don't need these.
So how do you edit that and make a custom toolbar?
It's been a while since I've done it, but it's not hard. I think up here you can say, oh, there we go, edit toolbar.
Excuse me.
And then
Okay, I see.
you can drag in, whatever you want, and I make it undo, but then I forget if no, I'm still on it. So I'm on it there, and I would change right here. I'm just going to pick something.
Yeah,
so
just drag that up there. Oh, it already changed.
Yeah, it's just alternating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
add to external program.
Spacing. Yeah, he's got a lot of other. He has, and that's where I'd say is like, man, when you watch him use it as opposed to me, it's mind-boggling. Like I'd say, watch the first webinar we did where we featured Studio, and he was reviewing it, and you're like, all right, my brain is shutting down because
overload.
Yeah, he's so fast and knows it so well. He even did stuff with me that he didn't do in the webinar, where you can highlight stuff and say, okay, I want to step into this and add a number, increment the numbers over stuff for me. He has built-in variables, so he can hit a couple strings and it pops up with code that he uses, like basically the snippet thing you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
He has that built into it where it's very easy to put snippets and pull them out. And yeah, it was awesome.
Wow. Well, I downloaded it and I put it in my library, and I'll fire it up now that I've got the basics. Yeah, that's very impressive.
I think I just saw, by the way, when let me go back to this. I have a button for it. It was the additional publish. So let's see what that does. Oh, error at line 12. My fuck.
Oh, maybe that's what you're talking about, where it packages it all up.
It does. Yeah.
So it's under the word publish.
Right. Control Shift P.
Okay. So it
cannot be opened. Yeah, I don't know why. I think because I deleted it. No, it's still there. But that is the one. That is the right one. I can refresh Code Explorer. That's the one that will pack it all up.
So you lost your project.
Yeah, and that's what earlier I don't know what happened, and I'll show him this and see if he can figure out what's going on. The other thing I gotta say is like I usually run stuff under Dropbox.
Yeah.
And we've run into issues when trying to run it under Dropbox. What basically is happening is what we think is happening is it's accessing the stuff so fast, and Dropbox can't sync up the stuff quick enough, and it's causing issues.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's very helpful. I'll bring that up. That's great.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop